Good morning, David. Nice to have you from Ohio. And then I see Valentine is also on from Long Island. She says, hi, miss. Nice to see you. Good to see you guys. I have some really great things to share with you about the stimulus. So this is going to be a roundup of what's going on with the latest news around stimulus check. And what's happening on Capitol Hill, the White House, like how I've been doing it to keep you guys in the loop so that you're not blindsided by anything. And for those of you who are new to me, I'm Latoya McBean Pompey. By day, I'm an immigration lawyer in New York and working with folks all over the world. But I'm also very much a concerned citizen and have been talking recently about stimulus issues and what's going on. Hey, Yannick, nice to see you. I'm doing terrific. So let's go ahead and dive in. And I see quite a bit more are watching, which is terrific. And Princey says, hi, McBean from New York. I like it like, when you guys call me McBean. I find that it's pretty cute. Okay. So let's go ahead and also you can just drop some comments, some questions in the comments related to stimulus, questions related to stimulus only. I'm not looking to answer any questions around immigration in this video. This is a stimulus topic that we're going to be focusing on. And thank you, Samuel. Thank you for that. Thank you. When I wear yellow, it makes me feel better, right? Bright colors. Okay, so let's have some fun with it, guys. I'm going to share my screen with you like what I normally do. And we're going to talk about the latest with respect to stimulus issues. Hold on a second. Let me get this together here. Here we go. All right. So if this looks fine on your end, give me some likes, and yeah, go ahead and drop your thoughts about the information that I'm sharing in this broadcast about the latest updates. Guys, there's a lot of money talk going on Capitol Hill. A lot of talk, right, around whether there should even be a second stimulus package, what it should look like. We've been staying on top of this, right, because this will impact us, right? It's going to impact us. Now, the question is, who knows what's been happening lately? And so from time to time, by the way, I'm going to throw in some cute kids throughout this presentation and other presentations because why not, right? So who knows what's going on? Who's following this? Anyone following this? Drop it in the comments. Let me know you're following the news. You're interested in this topic. So let's start off with the bigger picture as we normally do, right? And so the bigger picture is this. Some people have gotten money recently, okay? Last week, I reported out on the fact that the EIP cards are being mailed out, which is a prepaid Visa debit card for those who had not yet received their first stimulus check. So about 4 million of these cards were sent out, which is great news for people, right? People who've been waiting for a really long time to get their stimulus money. And again, this is the first stimulus check. So that was the latest from last week. But guess what's happened since then, guys? People are receiving these little debit cards, and they're thinking it's a scam, right? They're like, what is this? Why am I getting this card? Should I activate it? What's going to happen if I activate it? And so, some people are thinking, do I throw this thing out? And so, because it arrives in this plain white envelope. And so, friends, if you or someone have received this little blue card that looks like this, it's real. Don't throw it out. It is in fact the stimulus dollars that is for that individual. So don't throw it out. Use the money, activate the card, watch my other live session about this prepaid debit card, where in that session last week, I think Sunday, I forget, but last week I did that session and I talked about all of the major questions and concerns about that card. Okay, what else is going on? Okay, from a big picture standpoint, unemployment benefits, right? Last time we talked about the fact that about 38 million filed their unemployment claim. And so that number has jumped up to 40 million filed for unemployment benefits since the pandemic started. But in fact, only about 21 million are collecting benefits currently. But still, that's a lot of filings. So more people are filing for unemployment benefits. Now, regarding the unemployment benefits from the federal government that added an additional $600 per week, those that is set to expire at the end of July. Okay, so that's still on the table to expire at the end of July unless Congress does something additional to extend it or to even break it up and say, okay, well, let's just tag on an additional $300 a week instead of $600. And we're going to talk a little bit more about the unemployment issue shortly because it is actually a hot issue. Okay, so let's shift now to Capitol Hill and let's see what's happening there and what our leaders are saying. Now, the $3 trillion HEROES Act, right? And I think you could only see a partial screen there, but it's $3 trillion HEROES Act, which we've talked about. That massive legislation passed the House of Representatives, as we know, right? And it has been moved over to the Senate. And, you know, I reported out on the fact, and also other folks have been talking about the fact that it was dead on arrival on the Senate side because it was just too massive. It was like it covered so much, right? So many issues. And so it wasn't very narrowly focused. And so it was dead on arrival in the Senate, and leaders on Capitol Hill were talking about, well, we need to pause this whole debate about discussion about the HEROES Act, right? And about another stimulus check. That was really the focus. Pause. But the quote that I thought that really captures, you know, the reality of what people are facing actually came from Nancy Pelosi, okay? This is really the quote of the week, in my opinion. She says, we need a pause. Tell that to the virus, okay? The virus isn't taking a pause. Is hunger in America taking a pause? And so obviously the House is very eager to move forward. Pelosi is actually very eager to move forward on the HEROES Act that she spearheaded. Now, what others are saying on Capitol Hill is this. Now, this is the Senate Republicans, okay? So we're focusing right now on the Senate Republicans. And so Mitch McConnell, the leader, says this is his latest thing, okay? Let me move this out of my way. So the latest thing from Mitch McConnell is this. We're taking a careful look at a fourth and final, guys. Just want to underscore final. Don't come back to me with another talk about spending more money. This is the final bill, okay? You could anticipate the decision being made on whether to go forward in about a month. In about a month, we will act. We'll make a decision about the next stimulus package. And it will be narrowly crafted, designed to help us where we are a month from now, not where we were 3 months ago. Okay, so Mitch McConnell is talking about a fourth and final bill that they want to act on within about a month, and it will be narrowly crafted. What else is he saying? Well, he's also saying that this next stimulus bill, guys, will be written in the Senate. He wants to take control of this process. And why not, right? He wants to take control of this. That's the ego. These guys didn't get there without the ego, right? So he wants this to be a Senate-led initiative, period. Not a Nancy Pelosi, House Democrat-led initiative. And so that's, honestly, that's really quite irrelevant, right? People need action. Businesses need action. And so this bickering on Capitol Hill, this jockeying is just totally irrelevant to all of us, really. And so according to Mitch, if I can just say Mitch wants this to be driven by the Senate and certainly be supported by the Trump administration. What else is Mitch saying? Well, Mitch looks to be doing a little flip-flop in here because the last time we talked about stimulus, I quoted Mitch saying that he's not supportive of extending unemployment benefits, the federal version of the unemployment benefits. But guess what he's saying now? He now wants to help those who are still unemployed. So what will that look like? We'll have to wait and see, right? I doubt it's going to be another $600 a week benefit, but we'll see. Now, what else? Here's another flip-flop. So he's also saying we're going to take a look at giving state and local government aid to help with their budget shortfall. Whereas before he was saying, no, I don't want to send trillions of dollars, to the state and local government to help bail them out. No, let them deal with it on their own. Now the reality is, listen, cities like New York, right, where I'm at, facing humongous budget shortfall. There's a lot of pressure on these senators now to act, okay? And they just can no longer say, okay, no, we don't want to send any more money. No, we don't want to do this, or no, we don't want to do that. There's an enormous pressure that they're feeling. And so now he's realizing, okay, we're going to have to do something and give the state and local government something. He also wants to do something with respect to small businesses and for healthcare. I'm not sure what he's specifically talking about there, but we'll wait for those details from the Senate. Now, let's talk about the Senate Democrats. Where are they? Well, firstly, they're not really feeling the HEROES Act either, okay? They're taking a little bit more reasoned approach to this. And what they've been talking about recently is that the next stimulus packet should focus, or the next stimulus checks, I should say, should focus, friends, on households that are the hardest hit, right, by this pandemic. Not a blanket, proposal that just goes out to everyone who's eligible. No, because some people actually don't need the money. So why do it that way? So they're saying, let's just focus on those who are the hardest hit. Not sure how they're going to resolve that issue to determine who's the hardest hit. What are they going to do? What metric are they going to use to measure that? Don't know. But that's what the Senate Democrats are talking about these days, narrowly, again, aligning with Mitch McConnell, who's talking about a narrow proposal, right? They want to narrow the focus. Okay, let's see. Then the other thing that happened recently, friends, on congressional side, is that they passed the Paycheck Protection Program Flexibility Act that we talked about last week. And so this got overwhelming bipartisan support. It passed the House 417 to 1, okay? And I didn't look up who that one congressperson is. I don't know who voted against it, but basically it got almost everyone's support. And so there's a very strong likelihood that it will also pass the Senate. Now, what does this Paycheck Protection Flexibility Act focuses on? I'm only going to touch on 3 bullet points here. I'm not going to get that deep into it because I know that many of you may not be very focused on the PPP issue. But what it does in a nutshell, friends, is that businesses now have 24 weeks to use the loans. Okay, whereas before it was 8 weeks, it was too short for many businesses, short of a period of time by which to use the loan and then have to repay, and then trying to figure out what's forgivable versus what's not forgivable. It was just too short of a time period. So there's more flexibility. They now have 24 weeks to use it. Also, the bill extended the deadline to rehire the employees. Okay, and then thirdly, it reduces the share of funding that must be directed toward payroll costs, okay, from 75%. So it's up to 60% from 75%. So, and there's actually a little bit more nuances with respect to PPP that I'm not going to touch on. But if you're interested in that issue, just Google it. If you're a business owner or small business owner or you're self-employed, look into the latest with respect to this act because it's going to give you a lot more flexibility on how to use those funds. Okay. Now, Trump, what are you saying? What's going on at the White House? Is it crickets? Well, no, actually what the White House is talking about these days, guys, is the fact that, number one, they don't really like the idea of continuing the unemployment benefits at the $600 a week level because some people are receiving more now through their unemployment benefits than they did when they were actually employed. And so some of the arguments that employers are making is that it's kind of, as we're reopening, it's kind of hard to woo our workers back. It's hard to get them back. Why? Well, because they're making more money at home, collecting unemployment benefits with this added $600 a week that the feds are given on top of the state unemployment benefits that they're receiving. So as you can see, there's an incentive, guys, for people to stay home if they are in fact receiving more money at home versus when they were working at a restaurant or wherever, right? And so what the White House and some senators are talking about is the idea of creating some sort of weekly back to work bonus. Give them a little bonus, an incentive to go back to work rather than stay home and collect unemployment benefits. And so perhaps one of the things that they could do is they'll add unemployment benefits up to $450 rather than the $600. I don't know. We'll see what they're going to do, but these are the numbers that they're talking about currently. But a back to work bonus is what the White House is supportive of. And then they also are, the White House is also supportive of the PPP program, the flexibility to help more small businesses. And so now let's shift to what's next. What's next is Congress is getting back to work next week, okay, or in a couple of days. Senate returns on Monday. The House usually returns on Tuesdays. And so they're getting back to business next week. Now, on the House side, guys, there's nothing really scheduled on their calendar for a vote in June, but they could always change that. If another stimulus bill gets put on the table or on the floor for their consideration, they're definitely going to call people back and they're going to do their voting. Okay, so, but nothing is currently on the calendar until June 30th. Okay, now, I mentioned this before that the PPP Flexibility Act is likely to be supported on the Senate side again, because really it's bad public policy to even vote against it, because businesses, the first PPP proposal was just too narrowly written and hard for businesses to really meet. And so I can't imagine this going down in the Senate, right? Because again, they have to go back to their districts and face their constituents and the constituents who are businesses, right? And they want more flexibility under this PPP program. What else is going on? So there's another break, as I mentioned before, that's coming up starting July 3rd, another 2-week break for July 4th holiday. Okay, so that's what's going on, guys. That's the latest. Let me get back on the screen here. Where am I? Give me a sec. Okay, here I am. All right, so that was a lot, but I hope that gave you a really good overview of what's going on and from a big picture standpoint. People are still going through a hard time in America. Okay, for those of you who are out there who want to come to America, it can be hard here. Okay, so Americans are facing a hard time, very much so, and the leaders on Capitol Hill, they recognize that they don't really want to throw more money into the system, especially right now as the states are reopening, businesses are reopening. And so this approach of, well, let's see what happens with the economy now that we're starting to reopen. Let's give it some time. That sounds great in theory, but in reality, on the ground, businesses are suffering, people are suffering. And so now is really the time, guys, to really, if you're here and you're unemployed, you really need to be thinking about shifting and pivoting and doing something more on the entrepreneurial side, because, you've got to take control of your own life and your own future. And so for those of you who are on that track of doing your own thing, you've got to keep that going, right? Keep it going and make sure that no one has any power over you. And so thank you for the likes on that one. That's all the preaching I'm going to do in this one. Guys, thank you so much for joining me on this Saturday. This was a nice short presentation. Thank you for watching, Anthony from Texas. I hope you guys are finding this information valuable. I will be doing more content on stimulus, okay, and other issues that's happening on Capitol Hill. Thank you so much for that, Colette. I will keep up the good work. I appreciate it. I enjoy working with you guys. I feel like we're working together in some ways. I enjoy this. So thank you so much for chiming in. If you have not yet subscribed to McBean Immigration TV, go ahead, subscribe so that you could get more videos on immigration, of course, and certainly other topics around stimulus and some other things. Subscribe now, hit the notification bell, guys, so that you will be the first to get notice of these videos. Thank you so much, Gigi, for saying that. I appreciate it. Thank you. Same to you. Dem, nice to see you. You're watching from UAE. Awesome. Excellent. And I see Nilanka is closer. She's in Staten Island. Awesome. Hi, Lewis. Thank you. Thank you for watching from Texas. Friends, you guys enjoy the rest of your Saturday. And yeah, like I said, hit me up in the comments and let me know your thoughts about the stimulus issue and questions that you have related to the stimulus issue so that I'll know how to focus my next presentations on this issue. Guys, have a great and bright day, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.